For episode number 3, Pop Tot's choice is 2001's Jet Li action sci-fi adventure, The One. This is a movie that you and I grew up watching a lot on sci-fi and all those channels. So I was pretty excited to take a trip down memory lane. Pop Tot, what did you think about The One?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, we give the real quick synopsis of this film. It stars Jet Li. He's in like multiple roles. Basically, it's a multiverse movie. He plays the bad guy and the good guy. The bad guy is trying to kill all the versions of himself to make himself stronger. The less there are of him, the stronger he gets. And now he's down to the one, which is the good guy, Gabe Law, played by Jet Li.
But now a force exists who seeks to destroy the balance so that he can become the One.
It kind of has like that feeling, the shot. It was filmed, the filter, the CGI was all kind of... There's a lot of movies around that time. We'll reference them a lot. Demolition Man, Time Cop, those kind of movies. Actually, I did not remember Jason Statham being in this movie.
Yeah, this is before Transporter Jason Statham, which kind of blew up his career. This is him with hair, trying to do an American accent. I can't tell what accent he's doing.
None of you married to the same woman. None of you married to a different woman. None of you married to a man.
For the second episode for Lost and Found, a potential legend of these soon-to-be channels, Delroy Lindo, who's in this with hair.
Your line has run out. You don't see that?
And they play multiverse cops. They are basically, Delroy Lindo's character was actually partner with Yulaw, who ended up becoming bad because he realized he could absorb the power and soul and spirit or whatever of the other one, and which the other ones that he was killing, which leads to one of the most unintentionally hilarious moments of the entire movie, when you get to see Jet Li and all these different disguises. It felt like something right out of Who's Line when they were doing the scenes.
This Santa Claus will have no problem fitting in your chimney.
I'm from Express Mail, and I absolutely have to be there overnight.
They captured him initially in the beginning of the movie, the bad guy, and they took him before the court, the multiverse court, and they're showing all the 130 people he's killed, and there were just all these variations. It kind of feels like they just grabbed Jet Li and put different backdrops behind him and slapped like SNL-style skit wigs and whatnot on him to make him all these different characters.
Next to me, my horse feels inadequate.
Hi, I'm Carol Channing.
If only you could see my pants.
Yeah, it was whatever they could do in like 15 minutes. Basically, it was pretty corny, and a movie full of cornball moments.
Victim 121, Seth Law, Procyon Universe.
You know, you got somebody like Jet Li, and the one movie that always sticks out to me, Jet Li wise, I'm sure with you too, is Lethal Weapon 4, and he was done wonderfully in that movie.
Right.
And his villain persona in The One is much better than Gabe.
Hey. We've talked about this before. Jet Li is an amazing kung fu or whatever martial artist, but it plays off better being a bad guy than it is trying to be charming Gabe Law.
Yeah.
Which kind of fell flat.
Aldrich called. He said you were in the hospital.
Yeah, I was.
They checked you out?
I checked myself. Nothing to check. See?
Yeah, and there was a lot of scenes too that I caught that were heavily ADR'd, and it was really bad at times, and it wasn't just his stuff, it was other people's stuff too. So
I'm seeing the only person I need to see.
I'm serious.
我也是。
镇静点好不好?
Okay.
But the biggest disappointment for me in this movie was how the action scenes were handled. There was a lot of quick cuts, a lot of very zoomed in shots. And again, Jet Li being a martial arts master, I apologize for not knowing what his actual study was, but he did say he employed several different styles for each one of these, so they were different, which again is very interesting, but either had a gun in his hand the entire time, or every shot was so unfocused, cut around, that you couldn't see what was going on. And so it lacked that creativity that you get to know from those famous martial arts movies, you know, like Enter the Dragon or any Jackie Chan or any like Rush Hour or anything like that. It didn't have those that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Right, and because he's playing a powerful being, they do a lot of this like speed up, slow down stuff. He throws somebody in the air and then he jump and kick. So there's a lot of high wire act stuff. Kind of a cool scene is he rips two motorcycle cops off their motorcycles, and then he uses them like Hulk smashes another poor cop with them. That's kind of neat. But like you said, the actual martial arts part of it, there was a lot of cut scenes, and the editing wasn't up to hype because you can clearly tell that it was Jet Li fighting a martial arts stunt double.
Yeah.
And they didn't, I know they didn't have the CGI to make him fight himself and all that.
That last fight scene was definitely the peak of the movie, and I'm sure it probably has something to do with the fact that, because you had a scene with Delroy Lindo and then a couple of the police officers he was fighting in the hospital. I'm sure it's, these guys don't have any sort of training, and then finding stunt doubles that look like them, they probably don't have the training in martial arts history that Jet Li has.
That was actually the best scene in the movie to me. Martial arts was the handcuff scene.
Yeah, it was the most creative. I always think about, when Jackie Chan is doing his fight scenes and stuff, there's always this level of creativity. It's a stunt performance. It's really what it is, let's be honest. And I made the joke before in our failed recording of this that I felt like 20 minutes of the movie was spent with people shooting at HVAC units. It was like, it's the most underwhelming fight scenes I've ever seen. There's a movie starts and has a similar scene in the beginning where they're breaking the Law character out. The bad guy is basically hiding in the HVAC unit. You can't see him, and he goes and tries to assassinate him. And it just is a bunch of people shooting at an HVAC unit. And it's so unexciting. It's poorly shot. It looks like shit. It's not interesting.
One Henry Roberts, code 3, and then immediate backup in the delivery area.
And I'm like, I don't know why they decided to do this with Jet Li, at the readily available. It's weird.
I think the screenwriters were trying to display that the multiverse might be slightly different, but there are certain things the same. Like the one he was the bad guy, and then the reveal in the second universe was that he was the cop, and you're like, oh, so that's the twist. I kind of get that, but like you said, there was so much time spent at shooting ductwork, that it just kind of took you out of the scene.
Yeah, and one of the highlights of the movie for me was the metal needle drops. There was like 2 or 3 in this. It had bodies and Disturbed. Another thing that we talked about in our failed review was Carla Gugino's appearance being in the movie, even though it, again, caused some other issues. But Miss Tot made the joke that I think it was just an excuse for this guy to play metal music and have gratuitous shots of her, which is fine, but it doesn't really make for a very good movie, which is what we have.
This is late 2001, and Carla Gugino was, probably around the Spy Kids stuff. She was doing a lot, Sin City. She was really just getting up there, and she is a really gorgeous actress. She's very talented, but I felt like they just did not use her enough in here. No. She was just kind of like, I don't know, the love interest fodder in the background. And I mean, the good guy, she plays his wife. The bad guy kills her. Yeah. And then at the end, as his reward for saving the universe, Jason Statham's character sticks him in what I call the Al Gore universe, because there was a bunch of hipsters driving EVs. Yeah. And voila, there she is. She's a vet. The character doesn't get to ever feel the loss.
Yeah. He's basically removed from it. That was super frustrating, along with the constant cliched which one's which.
Man, Mr. Law, what are you doing? Now we have to start over.
The bad guy, Law, was running around in this jumpsuit. Well, then the good guy, Gabe, is getting an MRI to see what the hell is going on with him because he doesn't know about the whole multiverse thing. And so he puts on the similar jumpsuit. So the entire time the movie is trying to actively betray the audience into who's who, and they do it so many times in the movie. It's like an SNL skit that goes on way too damn long.
Jesus, Gabe. Did you ever think if we met that day at the bookstore we'd be in this kind of mess?
Interestingly, the film's director is this James Wan guy. He has zero experience with action, and he was given a pretty big budget. I mean, at the time of $49 million, which even by today's standard to me is still pretty big for not really knowing action. He did the first Final Destination, which I'm assuming was probably a success, but then really his career fizzled out, and I'm assuming it's because this movie was basically a gigantic flop.
Yeah, it only made 72 million worldwide, and the Rotten Tomato score on this is ridiculous. It's 14% with a 48% audience score. So that's, I think even Sahara had a pretty low Rotten Tomato score, but the audience score was like higher than 60 or 70.
Yeah, my beloved Roger Ebert gave it a 1.5 out of 4, calling it brainless high-tech action without interesting dialogue, characters, motivation, or texture.
For parallel universes, and if Jet Li can kill the other Jet Lis, who live in 123 of them, they'll have the strength of 124 men. Which is,
it's pretty scathing, and I love Ebert, but Ebert definitely had his place for trash movies, and, you know, so that's kind of a monumental dump on this movie.
His visions of hell, which you didn't even mention, are truly worthy of a medieval artist or Hieronymus Bosch. The visions of what hell looks like in this movie are things we've never seen before.
Okay, yeah, because, see, I kind of like this movie, and I thought Bill Murray did a great job. Really.
If you go back and you think about the movie in a whole, there's just not enough grounded scenes. There's just, it's weird. It's like the one core thing of it, which is the fighting, there's either not enough or it's really kind of quick cut too much.
It definitely feels like it's missing a half hour of movie, whether it be in how it was cut or whatever. Not hard to figure out why the movie failed, that's for sure. But ultimately, as we always do with these, lost and found. Is this worth seeking out? Is it worth buying, renting, or streaming on a service, or just leaving it lost in space with all the other crap? Where are we putting this one, Pop?
I would lose it. I mean, I really think, we mentioned the movies earlier in this recording, if you really want something that are along those lines, I would definitely go with something like Demolition Man or even Time Cop. Yep. They both have very memorable bad guys. They have very memorable scenes. They tell a better story, I think. Yeah. They're cheesier. They're meant to be cheesy.
I like Mexican food, but come on.
Your tone is quasi-facetious, but you do not realize that Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the franchise war.
It doesn't dive hard enough into being a bad movie that it can be forgivable when it has the silly parts like a Steven Seagal flick or whatever.
That's where we get him. Get him. Kill him.
I do think Jet Li is immensely talented, but he's not charming enough to be multiple people in a movie and charming enough to be the good guy where you root for him, because I was almost kind of like, I kind of enjoy him more as the villain.
You need to be examined.
You can do it.
Newsflash, I'm a vet. You don't have paws and a tail.
Yeah, overall, I completely agree. Be sure to let us know in the comments what you thought of this one. Did you watch it? Did you not watch it?
I said freeze, asshole!
Please leave us your recommendations. We're always up. There's so many movies, so we're kind of trying to jump around and try to cover as much as we can. But be sure to let us know in the comments what you want to see, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.